Welcome into the lineup. I'm Will Clifford here with Alex Ferencz and Alex Grondin. Guys, USA just won its first gold medal since the Miracle on Ice. How did the U.S. do it?
Yeah, I mean, Canada actually dominated much of that game, but Connor Hellebuyck, between the pipes for the Americans, stood on his head, 41 saves in the win. And the Americans built the team to set up to play Canada. They didn't take 3 of the 4 leading scorers in the NHL, American-born. They left Adam Fox at home. This team was set up to play against Canada, who's more skilled, and Canada had their chances. McKinnon with the open net, but they pushed it to overtime. Hellebuyck stands on his head, like I mentioned, and Jack Hughes finishes the job.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Look, the Americans played this game pretty much as well as they could have. At times they weren't playing their best hockey, especially in that second period. But they knew going up against Canada, look, we're not the better team in this game. They knew that was probably going to be the reality of it, and the fact of the matter was they had to take the chances when they got them. Canada made some mistakes for sure. Connor Hellebuyck stood on his head. But also the United States made some great plays when they needed to. That 5-on-3 penalty kill was absolutely crucial. I mean, that's probably the best power play line you'll ever see, in hockey.
Arguably the 5 best players in the world.
Absolutely. In overtime, when it was 3-on-3, you got the best 3 players in the world at the time. So the United States took their opportunities when they had them.
And guys, I mean, you look at Connor Hellebuyck, right? He was a wall and goal for the U.S., not just in that final game, but all throughout the tournament. I mean, how does that just propel a team forward?
Yeah, and Hellebuyck in the NHL playoffs struggled a little bit with the Jets last year. The Jets went crashing out. But in this tournament, he really stood up for his country. And I think we saw that a lot, whether it's the Kachucks, really that pride of wearing the stars and stripes.
No, I mean, you absolutely saw it. I mean, when it came down to it, this year so far in sports, to me, seems like the year where you got a guy who's got something to prove. You saw Sam Darnold in the Super Bowl, and now you see Connor Hellebuyck, a guy who, look, a lot of people said he wasn't built for the big moments. He didn't do well in the playoffs, as you mentioned, but he came out here and stood on his head, 41 saves on 42 shots, pretty much a perfect game, the best he could do. I'll be honest, that one shot that Cale Makar scored, I will say, looking at it, that's a shot that I kind of expected him to make a save on. He had a pretty clean look at it. Hagel does a great job to pull Gensel away from the play, but I mean, again, it's Cale Makar. It's the best defenseman in the league right there, and he's an absolute sniper, and he finds the back of the net, but literally, other than that, the United States made every single play they could. And Hellebuyck, I mean, that paddle save, if I'm Connor Hellebuyck, I am framing that photo in every single home that I own, whether it's in Winnipeg or back home in Michigan. I'm getting that photo in my house.
And we've seen this before. In 2010, Ryan Miller stood on his head for the Americans, got that gold medal match to overtime. And I think this was the moment where America got over the hump in hockey, where they've proven that they could beat Canada, whether it's the group stage, whether it's Four Nations, 2010, but falling short in that gold medal match, and this time finally getting it done.
And I mean, it was Jack Hughes at the end there who really sent the USA home. How can the U.S., build off of this, right? You come in, you lost the Four Nations matchup a year ago now, and you come into this and everybody's looking at, USA, Canada, they're going to meet in the finals, Everyone's expecting it, then the U.S. finally takes the crown from Canada. What's next? How does the U.S. go forward from this? Is this even a fluke, or is this something that is going to become the regular?
I mean, you absolutely have to build on it 100%. I mean, this is something that is sweet because you're champions for a lifetime, and for the next 4 years you have bragging rights, which is awesome, and that's great. And they should absolutely soak this in for the rest of the season and the next couple of years all they want to, but eventually they're going to have to play Canada again, and Canada's going to get stronger and stronger. You look at guys like Matthew Schaefer, you look at guys like Connor Bedard. There's so many young Canadians who were not on this roster, who will be on this roster down the line. And it's not that there aren't young Americans, but there's just so many more Canadians that dominate the league. But some of these young guys for the Americans, I mean, look, Hughes, 24 years old. His brother Quinn, 27 years old. I mean, by the time the next tournament rolls around, you'd assume some of these guys are going to be in their primes. And so you kind of hope that when that comes around, you'll be in a better position. But it is a good point to make, because the one thing is, when your goalie stands on his head like that, you can't always rely on your goaltender to do that. You eventually have to be able to skate stride for stride with Canada. And so come the next Olympics, come whatever they end up doing with international hockey, the next time you play Team Canada, you're going to have a better answer than just Connor Hellebuyck. As great as he was in this game, and as much as we can love that moment, you have to have a better answer than just your guy in the net.
Yeah, and there's not much better than best-on-best hockey. You hope that this gold medal match is kind of going to inspire the next generation of American skaters too, where you see in the U.S. National Development Program where we are making elite-level talent now, where we can skate. There's no McDavid yet, but as time goes on, hopefully that skill gap will get closer and closer. But to your point, Will, I think Canada will look at this game for 4 years, ruing over what could be different next time around. And in America, 3 weeks till Selection Sunday, it might be a little bit more of an afterthought.
I mean, you talked also about guys who just were not on the roster. Sidney Crosby was on the roster. Of course, he gets injured before that gold medal game. He doesn't show up. And now this is probably his last Olympics. I know you mentioned a couple of names, Alex. What can they do going forward, to fill these gaps? Sidney is a monumental leader for Canada, and now he's probably out. He's done. So what's next for them?
Look, Sidney Crosby was a great leader for Canada for a long, long time, and he's a huge part of the reason why they won so many tournaments and why they went so far in so many tournaments. But at the end of the day, you have so many skilled guys on Canada, and someone's going to have to step up and be a leader, whether that's a guy like McDavid, whether that's a guy like McKinnon or Makar, whoever it happens to be. They're going to get another leader, and as much as a lot of people love Sidney Crosby and as talented as he is and as great as he is as a leader, there's going to be someone else who will fill his shoes. But the reality is, I don't really think it was the leadership of Sidney Crosby that was really an impact in this tournament. I think it absolutely was in 2010 and 2014. I just think down the line, late in his career, he's just a guy that they had in the locker room, and as great as he's been playing and played in the tournament, they have so many more skilled players on that team, as we talked about. McDavid is potentially going to be the greatest ever to do it. So when you have that guy on the ice and he's got the speed, he's got the stick handling, I just think someone eventually is going to have to step up and be that leader for Canada, and they absolutely will find it with the amount of talent that they have on the roster.
Going forward, do you want to see that 3v3 in the best-on-best international hockey? Because obviously in the Stanley Cup playoffs, you don't see that. And I don't want to hear, you have some folks up north, the Canadians, crying about the 3-on-3 isn't real hockey. When you have McKinnon, McDavid, and Makar, those are arguably the three best players in the sport. But do you want to see that at the international level?
I do agree with you that it's not fair of them to complain because they have the best three players on the ice. But I will say it is fair to be upset about the 3-on-3 in general. That's not fully hockey. You see it in the regular season, and part of the reason you saw it in the regular season is just because, again, it was 5 minutes before, but still, 5-on-5 isn't just as fun to watch. But in the high-stakes moments, you just need it to be 5-on-5 hockey, because that is the most fair hockey that you can get. Because at the end of the day, anybody can win in overtime. Even when the States were going up against Sweden, it went to overtime, and it could have been, Sweden could have gone it down. The puck could have gone on the stick of Mika Zibanejad, and he could have gone down the ice, and there's enough talent on that roster to score a goal for them, right? So I do think it should go back to 5-on-5, because in 3-on-3, it's just, okay, hey, who's going to get the odd man rush first, and who's going to get the goal? But I do think that the Canadians up north should probably calm down a little bit about the whole 3-on-3 situation. You lost. You've won 9 gold medals before. I think you can take one loss.
I'd love to see them bring back the shootout, though. TJ Oshie in 2016, wonderful moments. But yeah,
that's vintage. And you talk also the opportunities that Canada had. You say, oh, well, it shouldn't have even gone to overtime. They had 22 high-danger opportunities in the last 40 minutes of that game alone to go and net one. And, they missed some empty netters, some open netters there. So just going down the line, what do you think these Canadians are going to be looking at the most when they come back? And they'll be facing each other well before the next Olympics. They'll clash in the in-between, right?
Yeah, you hear McKinnon talk about it after the game, that they were the more skilled team, which I think we can all agree is true. But he's going to rue missing that chance, on his stick. 99 times out of 100, maybe 999 times out of 1,000, he puts that on the back of the net. This one he drags wide. So there's definitely missed chances, but I think that over time, you have to give credit to Connor Hellebuyck.
No, absolutely. And I think sometimes they say that you make your own luck, and I think the United States and Connor Hellebuyck absolutely did so. A double post at the end of the first period for the United States doesn't go our way, and then the miss by McKinnon and the missed opportunity by Taves, and I'm thinking, wow, okay, we are kind of getting some luck in this, and it kind of feels like it's going to be our game. But to the point of what McKinnon made, look, Canada had their opportunities, and you can take away the Taves play, you can take away the McKinnon play. Wilson right in front of the net, shoots the puck on after Marner's shot gets brought down in front of the ice, and Charlie McAvoy saves the game for the United States. That's a good hockey play right there. That's a defensive defenseman play right there. He gets his body in front of it, and he makes a big play. Breakaway for Celebrini. And what does Connor Hellebuyck say? He's got, hey, I got a 17-year-old guy coming down on me on the ice. What am I going to do? I'm going to take my big frame and get up right in his face and make him make a play. And you can't blame the kid. He's in that position as a young guy, and he's already done so well in the tournament. But at the end of the day, the United States made the plays when it mattered on defense, and Canada missed opportunities. So it's a mix of Canada missing opportunities, the United States coming up clutch when they had to.
For sure. I mean, it's definitely the case that this gold medal was not a miracle. All right, coming up on the other side of the break, we're talking some NFL. We're in the dead middle of the offseason, and we're going to be talking draft, combine, and some free agency. Stay tuned.